Richard Ahiagba, any NPP for Abba social media is soon. Now, make us soon. I don't mean that say literally or soon, but you understand what I'm saying. Now, nini neji na Gertrude Torkornoo ne ruling na Abba Nansen. Now, I'm just going to ask some questions. Now, for people who don't know, me say ma me Gertrude Torkornoo, emra yesha say ye no oko ECOWAS. Emma okokan se ECOWAS money reliefs in Sembebre. Osanso ka se nanka ECOWAS ento bo about $10 million ento Mahama ban so ni entu amano. Na case no ECOWAS aboni ni nego, in fact when we ni ba kumpo. Na enra na yasanso te se ye mami yasanso aba back to Ghana Supreme Court. Aba be file review for another motion. Intino utumi hu ne se cases ne de ebedoso. Na Richard Ahiagba de nsem bia ba betuja. Na mepesi ekoko kenkan ye wi a ye baby sa questions. And then first time wa ha Mr. subscribe na click the notification bell on the so. Oye ne sa latest news bia ba on Sabeka. This video is kindly sponsored by Corporate Logistica. Corporate Logistica the most prominent vehicle management company e Ghana ha. Na so wo car na pese kan ye djuma ma na onya so mfa so wo Ghana fashion Corporate Logistics ansa eno ano no o de kan show mo nsa na eno ano. Don't worry about driver, don't worry about maintenance, don't worry about fuel money. Every month omo abetu aka 2 times and they will take care of everything. 0598022033 oni omo ntwetwe nkomo o ye oba na onim se ne etwi sa aka asakesie ya Corporate Logistica airfrel na omune wo aye juma. Your action plan for weight loss eye book ende engrofo di ho adanse because obi biara nefuso ana obi a wonim obi a nefuso a wato book ya ma no unim etre onyama miensa udi so pepepe a after 1 week pe we fu be sha asese e kofom free number na eda book ne so no ana say link na wo comment box ni mo betumi click na won sa aka book ni bi. Now Richard Ahiagba nsembe no wo kan o see a future government must re-examine the abuse of Madam Torkornoo's rights. Enti ne opening paragraph no person tre say Madam Torkornoo the idea no you are abusing her rights in Semben. Also the decision by the ECOWAS Court of Justice to dismiss all claims filed by former Chief Justice Gertrude Esaba Saki Torkornoo is deeply disappointing. It calls for reflection by every Ghanaian who believes in the independence of our judiciary. Inti ECOWAS ama ruling, right? Obeso tre say ECOWAS ruling na wo mo ama no eye nimgo asesem eye disappointing. Na ECOWAS ruling no e wo say Ghana fo ni na ye di yeni tu ye di yeni eyi yeni ni ye di yeni eto the independence of judiciary eso. The question I'm asking each other here, how is it that in the same sentence, there's a figure of speech for that. Mr. Remo, figure of speech, you know, in old school, no figure of speech. Yeah, Divya na me krasa oxymoron ne sa anyamane na me kran to be some mean simile ne metaphor ne and open na meaning oxymoron ne. But you know, there's a figure of speech for that. That in the same sentence you say something. Okay, and then you are saying the opposite thing. Richard Ahiagba himself, now I'm not sure he's realizing. Or say the decision of the ECOWAS Court of Justice to dismiss all claims filed by former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo is deeply disappointing. In one breath, now someone what can I say? Courts name someone what can fa Gertrude Torkornoo in some answer no disappointing. Not to say ni kwense court ne kasa ono na nti ase no the ruling a court na ma no entwa ye. Or say it calls for reflection by every Ghanaian who believes in the independence of our judiciary. Owie ya no in another breath or call it say Ghana ni bia who believe in independence of our judiciary no e was say o sha say or reflect it. But how is it that you are calling on Ghanaians who believe in the independence of our judiciary, but in the same breath, you are speaking against the ruling? Obia will call for independence of our judiciary. Say courts ama ruling. How do you get disappointed? Not disappointed in a way that nipa krona will feel say what they na asem na ekono. One can asem ye. But you are disappointed because you feel say courts no endi asem ni ye. Meanwhile, you are saying we should reflect on the independence of our judiciary. If you believed in the independence of our judiciary, na ka obenya sa adwin po say court ni endi asem ni ye. I say this ruling raises fundamental concerns, and he goes further. This ruling raises fundamental concerns not only about the adequacy of regional judicial mechanisms in protecting public officials from targeted persecution, but also about the broader health of Ghana's democracy. That a court established to uphold justice and shield citizens from governmental abuse has in effect remained silent on what most Ghanaians saw as politically motivated attack on judicial independence, to say the least troubling. And so he goes further to say things as a good court name here. And this tells you what I always say NPP party, no. If you are not suffering from your friend, narcissistic personality disorder, you will not be able to join the party. And that is a show, Richard Ahiagbadia, it is a show of narcissistic personality disorder. Because from Nsemwa Wakano, he is calling for the independence of our judiciary. This same independent judiciary stood on their independence and gave a ruling that Omwangasa, Omo independent mindset, Nifili said it is the right ruling. Because Obi Biara wo tie Gertrude Torkornoo Nsemwa wodi aba no. Me a me meti hei, me call law school. But Nsemwa de koto ECOWAS court enim no. Nsemwa me kan ye no, eno a na ECOWAS judges no nso kan ye me boa. It tells you that yes, Obi Biara sabi adwin woni tirimu a wo adwin ansem ne wo behu ne se da bi ma me Nsemwa wodi akọ na emu ha. But the son say the independent court atre wo mo adwin no anya wo denti. You are speaking against it as though it is not independent. What in say? And that can only be done by a narcissistic person. Also, Ghanaians must not forget what transpired. We saw an unprecedented and hurried process against Chief Justice Torkornoo, with a committee whose conclusions seemed predetermined before its proceedings concluded. The deliberate public humiliation of one of the highest judicial officers in the land, and a brazen disregard for the constitutional safeguards designed precisely to protect the independence of our institutions. And you see, it is just like what Richard Ahiagba is doing. No? It is, let me give a perfect example. It is just like the asemwa to be so. Se nipa kroni ya kronfo. You the narco court. You two things. Either say nipa krono ya kronfo and answer on your kronfo. Now if nipa krone akọ court, now wakwa ko plead guilty. And then nipa krone akọ court. Now court no ama judgment. Once court the judgment about court na tre say nipa krone indeed or your kronfo no. Ya fa ne say nipa krone ya kronfo. And that is the law. The person will be recorded say or your kronfo. Inti Gertrude Torkornoo di asemwa ba. Mo say ne right has been abused. Onim say on to me nya fair hearing wo Ghana inti no wako ECOWAS. ECOWAS ama Ghana ruling na still what about tina online na waka say ane ene nipa kono ya abusing the right. Inti na no pesa o tre say ECOWAS court no sebe ruling na o ama no sebe it does not hold water or what. Once court Emma ruling on the matter, so okay, the person is guilty. It is seen as the person is guilty. In the court, the ruling about na court, I can't get to talk on you say you're right, no, you're abusing na. How dare you say oh Babontia because still you're abusing the right? I say the removal of Chief Justice Torkornoo has sent a chilling, unmistakable message to every judge and public officer in Ghana. Exercise your independence at your own risk. This issue is not just about Justice Torkornoo as an individual. What we face is a pattern of executive conduct under President John Dramani Mahama. You know, and it goes on and goes on. I see President John Mahama and the NDC that systematically weakens institutions, intimidates independent-minded officials, and steadily consolidates political control over a branch of government intended to operate free of partisan interference. Listen, Richard Ahiagba is from Ketu South. Me am in Sumiti. I am from Ketu South. In fact, me fruma eshe Ketu South, and I mean that literally, right? I mean that literally. Me metehano. Obisa baby a me fruma eshe Ketu South. I mean that literally. Richard Ahiagba nso free ho. Okay. Cool. Ketu South is known as, you know, yen say baby a ye free no a ho ending spiritually. Inti enye ntro ne de tete yen. Inti obi a wo free Ketu South bia he o person who Ketu South no gokpo amoken Ketu South. What to say obi ka kliko say o call water region na ye free baby kliko a ho den spiritually Ketu South ne wo. What is obi say agbozume a ho den spiritually a ho ni na ye Ketu South. Inti a ho de ene na ya na fifi kwete kan say the spiritual headquarters of Volta region, right? That is where I'm coming from. That is where Richard Ahiagba is also coming from. Richard Ahiagba enkan baby a wo free Ketu South. Entre say Embra na Gertrude Torkornoo oye Chief Justice wo man we mu no. Cases are no wodi na nyama no oye no. No oye with fairness and it's as simple as that. Say enda o ba besu e ba betre so and they get to talk on why say and they talk on why you say no very simple, you know, it's a very simple thing, a very 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 simple. Richard Ahiagba can baby a wo free Ketu South because a hodie a honhum bebre wo ho one can tamin free and can tam say embra na Gertrude Torkornoo or ye Chief Justice no cases are no would do on my way muno or no Richard Ahiagba na kume muno who say Gertrude Torkornoo dini free on brambo timbrambe kantam simple and free of partisan interference on brambe country and say embra na Gertrude Torkornoo AD cases on my way muno na she was free of partisan interference and on the country a simple tax. Because ebia no be aim free baby I menini ye free. Ti say ni pakon betumi aka bibia na okọ. Ba menino baby ye free no ye de no kwan na tete yen because ye mayete ase say ahonhom e wo ho we ndi no kware ahonhom ne be ye obibi. Ntu ko Ketu South a akan odino no kware. Onkonko wi ade. To be obi ade da abonten ye wia because him say hot there wudi agro bibi be ye. If Richard Ahiagba ye de see me say me can meneno yento bet. If in his heart and in reality Gertrude Torkornoo embra no ye Chief Justice no na oye nyama without political interference from Ekufuado and political interference from NPP one bra no bra me kantam. A simple tax. One bra. You should stop all this long talk. You know, all this long talk near per se address at the end of the na yet your mind we saw how Mamma Nyama or ye, and the more person much say, oh, and now ye Chief Justice, no, I said, ye, no one ya bonibia, and ye no, and because you're tiny tin ye no. Hey, when you said you, Babette Trotron sent a thing, and yet me read the main king can crab you. Montreal, your comment box, me that's it.